Coach, Saturday night getting the ball downfield was obviously a struggle. Is that just mismatches on the outside with their corners, or?
Well, everything was kind of a struggle, and we thought there would. I mean, Auburn's really good defensively. There'll be some struggles, and we executed a few things, but not nearly as well as we think we can. So, and I think the players saw that. I mean, some of it is some of the execution was due to them, but some of it is obviously due to us. And what we got to do is the things that are due to us, we got to work really hard on. And whether it's youth or whatever it is, as coaches, we're trying to find the best ways or things that our guys can execute. And to beat a good team, you've got to make those things happen. So we'll keep working on it.
I think it's been about a month now since you started rotating Matt and John Rice in. Just from the big picture, how do you think the offense is operating with this scheme, and what can you do to fix some things if there are things that aren't working?
Well, the quarterback thing, switching them in and out, I don't think is, that's my opinion. It's not a problem. I think those guys have handled it terrifically. They've had a great attitude. It's managing the game with one guy in the other again is not really, as I said last week, as hard as you think because the way we practice. But it's really it's unconventional for sure, and you got to have guys that are unselfish and understand their role, which Matt and John Rice do. So that part has been really good. It's just there'd be times where we wish we could we see this could be a big play, this could be a big play, but that's just working through the kinks. But the quarterback rotation is not a concern of mine as far as is that affecting the execution. I don't think it is, but that's again my opinion. So it's open for conversation, I'm sure.
Just looking at the last two drives on Saturday, I think John Rice was 6 of 8 throwing before that last interception. Is there anything else that you were calling, anything else that was different kind of on those last few drives when he was more efficient?
Oh, no, obviously last drive you had to throw, no timeouts and a minute to go. And we hit the first one, and then had the penalty. And then the last play, there was a chance there, but, he just scrambled around trying to make something happen. But I like it when we get in a 2-minute drill. I think our guys are comfortable with that because of our, going fast is not something that's new for us, our guys, and we've said that since spring, that we should be comfortable in stressful situations going fast because, the whole thing's built around that. So I think there's times where we want to play faster, but you got to get first downs. And, it's hard for us when we don't get first downs early to get in a rhythm, and so we got to really concentrate on that.
Is there anything maybe to looking at using those 2-minute drives kind of at other points in the game since it is moving the ball better?
Well, we should be, yeah. I think part of, as I was saying, part of our offense does involve tempo and involving tempo early and often. And I don't think at times we've been able to do that as much as I would like or we would like offensively. When we get it going where we really want to get it going, we'll do that. But also some of it's too is playing. When your defense is playing pretty well and it's a tight game where they've been on the field for, a long drive. I'm talking about our defense, and you go a quick 3 and out, that doesn't really help them. So part of that too has been okay. They've been on the field a long time. We want to get some first downs and tempo going, but we got to be conscious of our defense too. So playing part of that too is part of our mindset, but the biggest part of it is just being able to get a first down and then establishing the tempo from there.
Are you pretty much set on the quarterback rotation for the last 3 games, or is it possible one of them?
Anything's possible. Why would I say anything differently right now? I wouldn't tell you if I was. You know what I mean? Those guys, but it like I said, it's unconventional, but I've done it before. Other teams are doing it now. I think if you're seeing more than anything else at all levels, you better have 2 or 3 of those dudes ready to play. I'm talking about quarterbacks. Because it's no matter what system you run, whether you're a drop back team or a zone read team, whatever, those guys are getting banged up everywhere. And you're seeing teams that are, playing their second or third or maybe even to their 4th guy. I've been in that one year, I think I was down my 4th or 5th guy, just out of bad luck. It wasn't anything they were running. It was just bad luck and get nicked up. So, you know, we always better have at least 2 or 3 ready to play, and now more than ever, no matter what system you have, you know, particularly offensively, it starts and ends with that guy, and you got to have multiple guys there ready to play and be able to execute, and I think we do.
Going off that, I don't think we got a chance to ask you about the third guy entering the portal last week. Just what were your conversations with Grant like?
Well, Grant was a great young man. You know, in the short time we were with him, and I know it was a hard decision when he came to talk with me, and when he came to talk with Coach Luke, and I think wherever he goes, he'll have success. You know, he's a smart guy, he's a good player, and our guys, I've been very fortunate. The quarterbacks in our room, they're all young, but they were a pretty tight group, still are, and I think that's helped certainly in this first year of the system, they're all being pretty tight. But as I said, I've always felt, and I think Matt feels the same way, Luke, that you know you can't have enough quarterbacks. You got, and like I said, that's important at all levels, and everybody's seeing that. So we're, you know, right now with John Rice and Matt, we've got 2 guys getting experience. You got true freshman Kincaid Dent, who's the 3rd guy right now, and he's taking some reps, and we're doing. We'll recruit one every year, 1 or 2.
With the transfer portal now and all of the stuff kids can do, how do you balance wanting to prepare as many quarterbacks as you can with the idea that most quarterbacks want to be the guy?
Yeah, they want to be the guy. The hard part about quarterback is you can only play one at a time, mostly, right? Usually, or at least one on the field at the same time. Now, we've put both on the field at certain times, but there's not a lot of patience. It's hard, you know, if you're the backup quarterback or 2 or 3 to you know, not go into the portal immediately. Some of them going after the season. I was teasing somebody the other day. I think my son is the only backup quarterback in the country that has not entered the portal yet. But you understand that as nowadays because they all want it to happen right now. And I don't think it's always just the players or their parents. It's sometimes pressure from social media, whatever, or a guy is highly touted coming out of high school, and if he's not starting right away, somebody's saying, well, what's wrong with him? Maybe there's nothing wrong with him. Maybe he's just learning and he's behind a really good player, whatever the case may be. But there's a lot less patience, I think, not only at quarterback but all positions, but at quarterback it gets highlighted because the attention that they get because of the position, right? So that makes it harder, but I think that's also makes as a coaching staff, you got to look at it and say, well, like for us, we got all freshmen, we're in good shape. Well, you know, they may not all be patient enough to wait their turn or whatever, and they want to go have an opportunity elsewhere, and you don't blame them. You got to have that in mind, and so you always got to keep recruiting them. Like for us, we'll always keep recruiting quarterbacks and bring in competition, and you have to. I think you have to be honest with them. You guys say, listen, you're coming in there, and we have a returning starter, but we signed you to come and compete. And I think that mindset, and again, I've said this to our quarterbacks since they're, you know, you might start, you know, this week, but you got to compete for your job every week, and that's at every position. But at quarterback, maybe that's different. Maybe they don't want to hear that. You're the guy and you stay the guy. No, you compete every week for your job, and I think that's the best way to build that culture.
Coach, I know quarterbacks by nature are going to absorb a lot of criticism for any shortcomings in the passing game, but when you look at y'all's group of wide receivers, what else could they do to perhaps alleviate some of those issues?
We're a little bit young there, but Coach Peeler does a great job. I think part of it is, you know, they're playing against some pretty good corners, and you get some one-on-one opportunities. You want to win those, and we're a little bit young, obviously really inexperienced there. But I think as they get bigger, stronger, faster, and understand more things that Coach Peeler and them are teaching them, we'll be able to get some things open. But we got to try to help them. I got to try to help them at times to get free with some different kind of routes that we can do. But, you know, I'm not, again, a big stats guy. I'm more of what we got to do to win kind of deal. But, you know, we can get better in the passing game. The frustrating part is I've seen it. We, you know, do some really good things in practice, and some of it's not carrying over to the game. And part of that obviously has got to start with me and some of the play calling. But we'll be okay there. Well, we obviously going to recruit and continue to recruit to get bigger, faster, stronger at every position, including at wideout. But we got some we got some good players at White Oak, some guys that can get things done, and we just got to find a way to get them open.
Coach, with the departure of Tisdale, would that open a slot to sign or commit a second quarterback?
Maybe we're certainly going to talk about it because I think recruiting's going really, really well in all areas. But again, at quarterback, you might take a guy that, at least for us in our offense, you could take a guy that's a multi-positional type of player, quarterback and something else. You're going to probably see that more and more at all levels. The New Orleans Saints with Taysom Hill, the kid they have from BYU. I mean, those guys are really, really valuable now that he can help on special teams. He can play receiver, he can play running back, he can play quarterback. And so I think as from that standpoint, at least for us, we can have a guy and have a true role. Some people say, well, we use you in multiple ways, but they're lying to you. They're not really going to do that. For us, we can tell a guy, listen, look what we do offensively. We can put you at 4 different positions, including quarterback, and give them a big role. So I think that kind of guy is maybe a different category that we will certainly look at, trying to sign 1 or 2 every year just in that role.
I want to hear about New Mexico State, if that's okay.
Sure,
You
yeah.
Talk about their defense a little bit. I'm trying to look at these
Yeah,
guys.
they're really, when you look at the numbers aren't obviously eye-popping, but if you look at their athleticism, their length up front, they've got 6'4", 6'5" guys that have done a really good job and can rush the passer a little bit. And we've had problems just moving guys off the first level sometimes, and they've done a good job of that. Now they've got an open date, and they got experienced defensive coordinators, so we got to kind of prepare for what they've been doing, but also for something different, because when you have a team that has an open date with an experienced coordinator, they may throw some different wrinkles. So we've already started on that last night and today. They mix it up. Depends on who they play. Again, I think they see a lot of four-man fronts. They will pressure you. Gone against Coach Spaziano in the past when he was at Boston College and I was at West Virginia, and they brought a lot of field pressures, a lot of blitzes, and we've had some problems with them earlier in the year with some field pressure, so we're getting ready for that too.
You mentioned having guys who can play multiple positions, including quarterback. Could that potentially be something that Plumlee could do down the road?
Oh well, he could do it. Yeah, he could do it He could do it today. But he's good enough throwing the ball, and there's some of the issues with their throwing Saturday. I think are really correctable after we watch the film. But he's a quarterback all the way. Now he's not. John Rice is not a guy that you put him on the kickoff team, put him in the slot receiver, even though he could do it tomorrow. I mean, he's a guy that's a full-time quarterback, and he'll keep getting better at that.
Coach, you mentioned the transfer portal earlier. Just philosophically, what's your opinion of the ease of transfer? And I mean, it seems like that would promote a lot of tampering and some untoward things.
I think that is the danger of it is that it's a two-way commitment, and guys are signing 4-year scholarships, and you hate for them to leave at the first time of adversity and all that, but sometimes it's deeper than that. So, I think we have to understand that there are circumstances where players should be able to freely transfer, and I think most of us understand that. I don't think it needs to be an open market. I think if you give guys 5 years to play 5, and if he transfers no matter what, he has to sit out that year, maybe the only way to be truly fair about it with other than extenuating circumstances. I personally think if a coach or a coaching staff gets let go, the guys that just signed under that staff should have the freedom to go a little bit. And people say, well, that would create chaos. But, a lot of times players sign for the school. Most of them probably do that. But there are sometimes guys sign because of the relationship they have with the coaches. So I think you have to weigh that into it. And the NCAA is trying to do that. But I think just to have an open market might not be the best idea. But to have, give everybody 5 years to play 5. Especially with this 4-game thing, I think the unintended consequences of the 4-game thing are some of the stuff we saw, like what's happened at some other schools where guys are playing 4 games and then tapping out. That's not good for the game, and I don't think people really saw as much of that happening when this rule was made. So Make it 5 for 5, my opinion, make it 5 for 5. If you transfer, you have to sit out a year unless there is some extenuating circumstances.
So, Rich, obviously this is not the NFL, so these guys enter the portal after game 5, 6, 7, or 8. They're not going anywhere. They're still in school.
All right.
Does this generation, does the word quit ever come into contact? I mean,
You know, that's a harsh word, but that's a good point. I think it's, you know, it's more lack of patience. You know, how many times have you seen now, you see a great story of a kid that's been in a program 2 or 3 years, waited his time, he got his time, he made the most of it. Right now, it's almost, we're in the instant gratification kind of deal where, and I think sometimes it's, again, not related to our guys, but other guys, you know, they get built up so much, a 4-star, 5-star, whatever it is, and if he's not a starter in whatever position by his first or second year, somehow he's, you know, a bust or something like that. And that's, some of these kids can never live up to the hype that they came out of. And maybe the hype was overblown, or maybe he's gotten into a great situation where there's a lot of really good players at his position, and wait till he's a senior and find out how good he is. I mean, that's, so it's that, I think all that kind of has to play into it. And I think sometimes kids and their parents and their families feel pressure that my son needs to go somewhere and start to show how good he is. Well, he can still show it if he's, you know, patient for a couple, 2 or 3 years. And there's just no patience with that. And, you know, that's unfortunate because I think a lot of players leave too quickly, too soon. And again, I wasn't here, but there was a lot of really good players that left here. And there was, you know, circumstances with what happened with the NCAA and all that, but it can gut a program, and it's hard it takes, I don't say it is hard, but you can get it built back up, but it takes time. And that's what we're dealing with right now, and we're going to get it going. And we are getting it going, but it's taking more time than everybody wants, I'm sure.
Coach, I know we're beating you up on the transfer portal, but on the flip side, monitoring it and seeing who may be available to come into this program, just your thoughts on that in general.
Oh, yeah, we always got to look at the portal. I think you got to if you want to compete. I don't think you can build your roster with all transfers, but I think where you have an immediate need at whatever position it is, you got to look and see who's in there, and then once you do that, why is the guy transferring, right? I think there's got to be a reason why. Was it a coaching staff change? Is it a wrong fit of a scheme? Is it what's the reason why? Because there's always a reason why. You know, guys aren't leaving just to leave. There's a reason why. But I do think, you know, we look at it, you know, pretty constantly, like I'm sure everybody else does. So I don't think the portal itself is not all a bad idea. I just think, you know, there's sometimes confusion with us, and maybe you all, why did this guy get immediate eligibility and this guy didn't? It seemed like the circumstances were the same. So I think that's a hard part that the NCAA is trying to navigate, and it's a hard part where coaches, and I'm sure fans, are trying to understand. And so somehow to get that clarified would help everybody.